Welcome again now to another interesting and promising debate. By the way, our very dear friend, the Chessy Bird, is whispering to me that so far the summit is being very interesting, and he liked very much, especially your presentation, Anzel. So congratulations. And we will go deeper on some of your points later, but before that, let me introduce another big expert in education at chess, Boris Bruhn. He is from Germany. He is also a member of the FIDE Education Commission. And thank you very much for coming, Boris.
Thank you, Leontxo.
The first question is to both of you, but let's start by Boris. My professional partner giving workshops for teachers, Lorena García, has more than 25-year experience in the classrooms. And she says that before, the classrooms used to be normal except a few cases. But now there is no a normal classroom, according to her. So, Boris, you have worked as a chess teacher in many classrooms, you too, Anzel. Were there any unusual classrooms?
Oh yes, thanks for the question, Leontxo. There were unusual classrooms, especially in the elementary schools. Some of them are very cluttered, because the teachers, they do collect things like flowers, cardboards, plastic beads, boxes, a lot of things for every season of the year, and they do need it. I will never complain about it. They do need it for the regular lessons, but for teaching chess, it's a little bit uncomfortable. Plus, there is a lot of furniture in the room and a lot of edges and corners where the kids can just be harmed somehow. There is not even enough space for me to walk through the tables, not even place for the chessboards. So I found some classrooms that were not suitable for teaching chess.
What about you, Anzel?
Yes, Leontxo, thanks for the question. I think the biggest concern from a safety perspective is that the teacher must always, or the educator must always be able to reach every student at any time in the classroom. And when it's cluttered like that, if you have to get to someone in the back of the classroom, you might actually cause some other injuries on your way there, you know. So it's very important that the educator must be able to have free access to every child from a safety perspective.
But do you think that because of the kind of society we are living in now, students in general are more aggressive somehow than before, or some students, the number of aggressive students is bigger than before?
Well, in a teacher's perspective, I may say that it depends on the region you're in. So there are local differences for sure, and there are good reasons as well. So if you have some social wealth and you're well situated, it's most definitely less, and for other reasons, it's a little bit unsafer.
What is your experience about that?
Leontxo, just one thing that I really want to encourage the educators or remind them of is that, yes, children have bad behaviors. There are some unwanted behaviors in classrooms. But first of all, it's not necessarily the children's fault. They learned it some way. And it's often due to their circumstances and external things. A bully doesn't wake up in the morning deciding he's going to be a bully at the age of 8. He had to see it somewhere, and it had to work for someone somewhere. Yeah. And this is why we need to be that voice and that extra pair of eyes for the kids to look after them and out for them in that sense.
Anzel, I know you are working deeply on this concept of safeguarding. But as it is a modern concept, let us start by explaining what is safeguarding.
Well, it is modern in a sense that it changed a little bit of the look of it. But if we think back in the days for swimming and gymnastics and all those sporting codes, there was always safeguarding. Whenever there's a water sport, someone had to be there to rescue a swimmer, you know, or in gymnastics, when they fall, the mats need to be in a certain way. But now it branched out to to also the well-being of the player or the athlete or the student in that sense. So it's not only about the physical being a paramedic or anything, but also the mental and emotional well-being of the participant, yes.
Boris, this concept of safeguarding is becoming really important nowadays. How do you ensure the safety of children in your chess classroom during activities or lessons?
Yes, if I come back to the classroom I was describing before, I have to make a decision as a chess tutor. I have to think about if I can do my lesson in this classroom, because if it's not possible to get access to all parts of the room, I need to go and discuss with the principal or the designated coordinator to change the room. That's my first decision I have to make. And the other thing I would recommend to have a safe environment is to teach open door, always. Like we're teaching chess, so it's not a big secret what we're doing, and it's absolutely transparent. This is one good way. If you're not able to have an assistant, the 4-eye principle is another one that I could recommend at this stage.
Anzel, probably because of lack of time, you couldn't develop or elaborate some of the concepts, very interesting ones you were explaining in your presentation about decision-making skills from early childhood and so on. Maybe now we have time to elaborate it a little more, if you like.
Well, as educators, we can actually assist our learners with certain decision-making skills to become better human beings. We have to remember that little Johnny or Susie that we coach chess today or teach chess today will most probably not be a chess player for the rest of his or her life, but they will be a human being for the rest of their lives. And this is why our impact on them is so important. The memories we make today is something that they will remember in 30, 40 years if someone asks them what was a good teaching experience or learning experience that you had. And they will say, oh, it was Coach Anzel or Coach Boris or Coach Leontxo that did this or that. You see, and this is what we want to create. But from a safeguarding perspective, the problem with safeguarding is that people, educators in that sense, it's still a very under the carpet thing, you know, it's a silent thing, we don't talk about it, we don't mention it. For a legal practitioner like myself, it's easy to speak about it. And even when we have our preparation of teachers' courses that we present, I can immediately, Boris can be my witness there, when the moment I start talking about it, I'm comfortable with it. The participants go silent and they listen intently, you know, so it's not a comfortable decision, but we have to put it out there. And us as adults have a responsibility towards our learners. So if we don't want to take that responsibility to report certain matters and report certain cases of abuse, for instance, that we are aware of, if we're not willing to take that responsibility, we shouldn't work with children. That's it. There's many other job opportunities, but if you're not willing to take that responsibility for your learners, be that voice, don't do it. I mean, for us as adults, it's very difficult to report abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, any type of abuse. Imagine how difficult it is for a child to report it.
How is your experience on that subject?
I experience on this subject, my experience is that the conclusion is it's better to be transparent from the first minute on. The first lesson should be open, transparent to everybody, have an assistant, avoid every situation which would be uncomfortable for the children, because you have to focus not only on the well-being, but you have to introduce some conducive learning environment as well, so that they have the chance to develop themselves. So when we talk about all these problems with child abuse, if they feel comfortable, it's not so likely that this happens.
I see. I would like to come back to something which has been elaborated by Judith before during the roundtable. As I said, in the last 25 years, the world has changed as much or even more than in any other 25-year period. And according to the experts, is going to change even more and faster in the next 25 years. But the good news for us is that it looks like chess is the ideal tool to teach from that perspective. Do you agree with that?
I absolutely do, Leontxo, but I also, my warning, red flag warning lights go on from a safeguarding perspective. Sorry to bring this back there, but we need to understand that online chess is a very good, works very well with online platforms, but the online platform is extremely risky. From a pedophile perspective and those kind of things. So we need to be conscious about it, and we need to have certain measures in place and make sure that parents are alerted when we use online platforms and informed, and certain safety measures should be put in place in that sense as well.
Mm-hmm. You are suffering this kind of problem as well.
Yes, sure. And on our preparation of teachers course, we cover it. We contacted all the vendors, like the big online platforms, if they have safeguarding guidelines, and we check it before we recommend a platform.
Mm-hmm. What I wanted to emphasize is, if I am playing a game of chess with any of you, then during the game, along several hours, just one move from you or from myself is going to, several times it will happen that just one move will change the evaluation of the whole position. And, very important, the clock is running. So I cannot say, as the last Anzel's or Boris move is changing everything now, I'm going to think for an hour. No, I'm afraid I will have just a few minutes or even a few seconds to make a decision. So from that perspective, it looks like chess is a especially useful educational tool, right?
Definitely, especially the presentation I delivered just now about the simple decision and the critical decision. With the simple decision, you can still, it doesn't matter that much between making the best and the second best move, but when you make a critical decision, it can determine difference in half a point or more on the game. So it's important to also bring that back to life and explain to learners that one decision might make a life-changing decision for you or effect.
Do you agree, Boris?
I totally agree. I would say that you can learn from chess to make general decisions. Yeah, it mustn't be critical, but to be able to make a decision makes a better life, perhaps, because you are better in decision-making from different kinds of views. So it's not only the critical move, it's in general, like which cue to take and all of this. Only the small things. If you are able to do a decision on this one, on small matters, you can do it later on in your life with big matters as well.
As you can see, it's always very rewarding to talk to school teachers or experts on educational chess who have been working for many years in the classroom. So thanks a lot to both of you. It's really very inspiring always talking to you. I have learned a lot from both of you. Now, our next speaker is Brigitte Pestlech from the UK, chess player and educator with 20 years of experience working for Chess Plus. We normally meet Brigitte in London because she is one of the organizers at the very prominent London Conference on Educational Chess. But today, she will talk about empowering chess educators for the 21st century.